Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Thank you. Hello, Green Bay. Thank you. We love Green Bay. Thank you. Thank you. In the great state of Wisconsin, home of the legendary Green Bay Packers, right? And there's no place I'd rather be than right here in America's heartland, right? And there's no one I'd rather be with than you, the hardworking patriots who make our country run so well, and it's running right now better maybe than it ever has. Thank you. The strength of our nation is found in the heart of our people. So true. Tonight, America's heart is with the victims of the horrific synagogue shooting in Poway, California, just happened. Our entire nation mourns the loss of life, prays for the wounded, and stands in solidarity with the Jewish community. We forcefully condemn the evil of anti-Semitism and hate, which must be defeated. Just happened, must be defeated. And we are grateful to the law enforcement personnel for their courageous response, incredible response today by law enforcement. And I especially want to recognize a certain off-duty Border Patrol agent who bravely returned fire and helped disrupt the attack and saved so many lives. Border Patrol. And I also want to thank Mayor Steve Voss, had a great conversation, and Governor Gavin Newsom had a great conversation, and we stand together. We will all get to the bottom of it. We're going to get to the bottom of a lot of things happening in our country. Together, we're building a new chapter of American greatness, one founded on the idea that all citizens are entitled to live in safety, prosperity, and peace. This is an exciting time for our great country. This is an exciting time for America. Just yesterday, it was announced that the United States economy grew. Some people thought unexpectedly, not me, I didn't think. In fact, frankly, if we had the Obama interest rates low, almost nothing, actually nothing, and if we had quantitative easing instead of tightening, we use this conservative approach, we would have been even much higher than this, but this is very high, far greater. First quarter is always, for the most part, it's the lowest quarter. We did 3.2% in the first quarter, GDP crushing expectations and accelerating our economic boom. And that was with a shutdown, that was with a lot of different things, that was with bad weather, that was with everything you can imagine. 3.2 in the first quarter, usually the lowest and worst quarter. And Prime Minister Abiy, we're negotiating trade deals because every country has been ripping us off for years. And I really like the Prime Minister. He's a friend of mine, but I said, Mr. Prime Minister, we got to do something. For so many decades, we've been losing tens of billions of dollars to China and Japan and India and name any country. And we lost. But we're not losing anymore. And I said, listen, we got to do something. $68 billion in trade losses over the last 4 or 5 years, a year. So we're renegotiating. And I think he'll be fair. I think he'll be fair. And by the way, he started by saying that he's putting $40 billion into the United States for new car factories. Toyota's coming in with $14 billion. Many companies are coming in. And they're coming in, frankly, to Michigan. They're coming back. They want to be back to Ohio, to Pennsylvania, to North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, and what's the name of this special place? It's called Wisconsin. So they'll be investing very shortly, and it started already, $40 billion, with a B, $40 billion, and it'll be a lot more than that. The poverty rate for Wisconsin families has reached the lowest rate in 22 years. The unemployment rate for Wisconsin workers has reached historical. It's never been this low before, ever. Think of that. Never been historic low. And we're now the #1 economy anywhere in the world, and it's not even close. By the way, Saturday night, is there any place that's more fun than a Trump rally? Can you imagine Sleepy Joe, Crazy Bernie? You look at the candidates, right? I think Pocahontas, she's finished, she's out. She's gone. No, when it was found that I had more Indian blood in me than she did, and then it was determined that I had none, but I still had more. That was the end of her 32-year scam on colleges. But can you imagine any of these people up here doing what I'm doing? There'd be 200 people show up if they were president. If they weren't president, nobody would show up. Is that right? And I have to say, I was saying on the way over, they were telling me about bad weather, by the way. We may have to cancel tonight. I said, are you crazy? No, can you imagine? I learned this morning, they thought you were going to have a big snowstorm. Right? A big snowstorm. The people that get it wrong the most are the weather forecasters and the political analysts. Right? Right? No, they said there's a big storm. It's going to be hitting Green Bay. We may have to cancel. I said, like hell, we're going to cancel. People are standing out. People are standing out 24 hours ago, 32 hours ago outside. Who stood out there for 24 hours? Thank you. We love you. Thank you. Thank you. And you know what? And you're rewarded with the best seats in the House, right? That's the way it's supposed to be, right? America's future has never been brighter. Yet, the Democrats, those very friendly people in Washington, have never been angrier than they are today. You see, somebody else with a very low level of energy was supposed to be standing here instead of me. They wouldn't be in this room. I don't know. They got some problems, I would say that. But, you know, if you look 2 weeks out, in 2016, I was going to rallies. We were doing 5 and 6, like this. And there were thousands of people outside, just like there are right now. We had 69,000 people sign up to come in. Now, what does this place hold, like 10 or 12 or whatever? Whatever it holds, we set the record. I just was told by the owners, where's the owner here? Nice guy. I don't know what the hell it holds, but we just set the record. Where's the owner? Is this your record? Thank you. Whoa. Thank you. It's always dangerous. He said, yes, it is, sir. It's always dangerous. Yes, that question. No, sir, I'm dead. They will take that answer, and that'll be headlines. Thank you very much. You saved me. No, this is the record. We set records everywhere, and it's not me. This is a movement like we've never seen in the history of our country. But the radical, liberal Democrats put all their hopes behind their collusion delusion, which has now been totally exposed to the world as a complete and total fraud. The greatest political hoax in American history. It really has been. So this witch hunt was never really just about me. It was always about stopping you, the millions and millions of freedom-loving citizens who rose up on that incredible November day. Remember that day? November 8th. And demanded a government that puts America first, okay? And we're doing that with China. We're doing that with India. We're doing that with Japan. We're doing it with a great new trade deal that hopefully will get approved in the House. I hope they're going to approve it because it's great for the farmers. Everybody wants it. Everybody loves it. But we're all signed up and getting ready, I guess, in 30 days to put it in. The USMCA, like the song YMCA, right? Remember? USMCA. That's with Mexico and Canada. It's a great deal. And it's going to be very, really good for manufacturers and really, really good for the farmers. That's what we want to do. So put a lot of pressure on your congressmen and your senators because they have to ratify it. You know, they have to approve it. And frankly, with what you have today, maybe they'd rather have us have a loss than do something that's good for the country, right? Because NAFTA is one of the worst trade deals ever signed in the history of our country. You look at around Wisconsin, but you still see the scars. Empty buildings. You go up to New England, you go to Ohio, you go to different places. NAFTA was a disaster. And what we had, the one thing I wanted more than anything else, I want to make it almost impossible for a company to leave Wisconsin and leave other states and go to Mexico and go to other places, but go to Mexico, fire its workers, open a new plant in Mexico, hire other workers, and sell the equipment into the United States. I don't want that. And we're not going to do it. And it makes it virtually not economically viable. That's what I want. So it's going to be great. I hope we can get Congress to get it approved quickly because it's going to be fantastic for everybody in this room, and especially manufacturers and farmers, and people aren't going to be firing people and moving their plants to other countries. Remember that spell we were going through before I was a politician, remember? Can you believe I'm a politician? I can't even believe. Politician. But remember that spell where everybody was just leaving the country and going into Mexico, Canada, Mexico, Canada. And Canada has been taking big advantage of your agricultural products. You know that. You know, Canada, we love the song, Oh Canada. Let's sing Oh Canada, right? We love the song. But I came up here a year ago, and I was with farmers, and they were selling specialty milk. Now, you're getting killed for years. 297% tariff. That means you can't sell it. That's essentially putting up a barrier. So all of those things are taken care of in this new deal. And you're going to be opened up, and they don't love it. But it's going to be good for everybody. It's going to be good for everybody. And if they didn't approve, I would have just put tariffs on the cars. I would have done that. I didn't want to do that. But I said, if that's not going to happen, we're putting tariffs on the cars, and frankly, we'll make more money. But the farmers wouldn't be helped so much, but you'll watch the company grow and prosper as you starve. That's no good, right? So we like it. And it's good, actually. It's good for Canada. It's good for Mexico. It's good for us. We got to get Congress to approve it. So put a lot of pressure on these geniuses we have over here. That's going to be a great trade deal. And we're very close to making a deal with China. But who knows? I always say who knows. Because who the hell knows? The deal is either going to be a great deal. It has to be. I told President Xi, he's a friend of mine. I said, listen, this can't be like a good deal for both. This has to be a deal because we have been losing to China for many years. $500 billion a year. We have rebuilt China. We've given them so much. Well, think of it. And that's cash. You know, they can say it's surplus. They can say it's deficit. Call it whatever. We were losing cash. We're giving them 500. How the hell can you do it? And as Prime Minister Abiy said to me today, he said, nobody's ever talked to me this way. From our country. It's true. No, he said it friendly. No, he said it friendly. He said it friendly. He's a friend of mine. But he said nobody from this country, no president has ever said this. You know, nobody ever even talked about it. We lose $75 billion a year. Japan, as an example, sells us their cars. The cars come in. No tax. They don't take our cars. Other than that, it's a very fair deal. Right? So the cars come in. Essentially, it's 2.5%, but essentially it's no tax. Our agriculture, they don't want it. We want to sell the agriculture. So they sell cars. We sell practically nothing. That's how we have these massive imbalances with so many countries. Now, China's the big one. Because with China, it's at least $375 billion a year deficit. Think of it. 300. Who the hell wants, who made these deals? It's true. Honestly, in all fairness to Obama, this was him, but this was before Obama, a long time before Obama. This has been going on for a long time, and all I'm telling you is if we don't make a deal, we're going to do even better, okay? We have all the cards. Don't forget, we're the piggy bank that everybody's robbing. We're the piggy bank that everybody is stealing from and robbing and taking advantage of. But no matter how hard they try to stop us, they can't, because our love for America will always be stronger than a corrupt thirst for power. I'll tell you what, you know, people say, oh, he wants to take over the country. He wants to extend. They don't believe I'm leaving in 6 years. He wants to extend. He wants to have presidency for life. These are sick people. I promise at the end of 6 years, I'll be very happy, but you're going to be left with the strongest country you've ever had. I promise you that. Exactly. You're right. right, USA. We love USA, and that's right. And that's what this fight is all about. We're taking on the failed political establishment and restoring government of, by, and for the people. It's the people. You're the people. You won the election. And if you look at what's happened with the scum that's leaving the very top of government, people that others used to say, oh, that's one that dirty, these were dirty cops. These were dirty players. You take a look at what's going on. There's 21 of them already. And I'm not even doing, they're just leaving because they got caught like nobody ever got caught. And in the truest sense of the word, what we are doing now is draining the swamp. That's true. I mean, we're draining the swamp, but are we having a good time or what? And look at all those beautiful red hats. And some white ones. Some white ones. Look at that. That's a lot of red hats. But you do have the white ones too, right? And you have the black ones, too. You have a lot of them. You have a lot of different hats. But let me just tell you. So we have to make a decision. Do you want to make it tonight? So we're doing great. The country's doing great. We're rebuilding our military. We're doing so many things. Listen. So we have a decision to make. We may have the greatest theme in the history of politics. It's called Make America Great Again. It's called MAGA Country. MAGA Country. It's called MAGA country. You know, I didn't hear that term until that third-rate actor in Chicago went out and he said, I was beaten up by MAGA country. Can you believe it? Now, that's a hate crime, right? He said he was beaten up by MAGA country. Turned out to be a total lie. But think of it. MAGA. Make America Great Again. And by the way, I have to tell you, that case in Chicago is a disgrace to our nation. Disgrace. So we have a decision to make. Now, if this weren't the greatest thing, I really believe, and it's been said, but make America great again. Ronald Reagan used seldom, let's make America great. Close, but not the same. Let's. Apostrophe, yes, you don't want the apostrophe. It's too complicated. Doesn't work. But Ronald Reagan was good. He said, let's make, but he didn't use it. He used it a little bit. We seriously used it, right? MAGA. And MAGA we got for free, because my whole deal was make America great again. All of a sudden, people start going, hashtag MAGA. But we have a choice to make and a decision to make. So, very shortly, we're going to say, you see what we did with our vets? We have choice. We're going to go over it. We have accountability where you can fire. We have a lot of things. Okay, we've done so much. Our military is going to be very soon in great shape. We took 100% of the caliphate in Syria. Everyone said, oh, you're never going to be. And by the way, and when some whack job that picks up something over the internet goes out and blows up a store and people get killed, I understand that happens. I understand, because these people are sick. They're demented. But we nevertheless, in terms of a war, we took 100%. But you're going to have these cells, and they're going to do damage, and it's a shame, and we've got to stop them. We've done a great job, but we got to be careful. We got to be careful. These are sick, horrible human beings, if you even call them human beings. So we got to be careful. And you know what? When you see, and I say this because we have a massive television audience, do you ever see so many cameras? If somebody else were here, you'd have about, like, none. This is like the Academy Awards used to be before they started hitting us and their ratings started falling like a rock. True. So we have a choice to make. Ready? So make America great again. The problem is we've made America great. Very soon. We're going to have a couple of things to do. We should have had health care, but one man decided to vote against us at the last moment. Even though he campaigned for 8 years, repeal and replace, but that's okay. That's okay because we're coming up. We win, we're coming up with a great package of health care. We're going to be the party of health care. We're coming up with a great package after the election. We got to take back the House. We got to win the Senate. We got to win the presidency. We're going to have great. But we got rid of the individual mandate. That's a big thing. That was the worst part of Obama. So here's what our decision is. Do we use, for the new campaign, which will be starting soon, we have the great Sarah Huckabee over here. Sarah.
Thank you, Mr. President. Obviously, I thought it was going to be a little warmer here in Wisconsin, but it's pretty hot in this room tonight. Thanks to all the amazing things you've done for our country. Last year, this night, I was at a slightly different event. Not quite the best welcome, so this is an amazing honor. I'm so proud to work for the president. They said he couldn't win in 2016, and he did. They said that he couldn't make our economy better, and it's booming. They said he couldn't rebuild the military, and he's done it. They said there was collusion, and there wasn't. They've questioned him at every step, and he's proven them wrong every single time because of all of you. Thank you, Mr. President, for leading our country. Thank you.
Oh, she doesn't get it. She doesn't get it. She doesn't understand me after all these years. She's becoming too popular. I'm jealous. Sarah, you're fired! She was wondering what was that all about. She's been great. And Dan Scavino and Mike and the whole group and Madeline. Everybody. They're all here. What a group. What a group. No, they're great people, and they really love this country. And what they've been through a lot. They've been through a lot of phony stuff, the witch hunts. They've been through a lot. So we're delighted to be joined tonight by many incredible Wisconsin Republican leaders. A really great friend of mine, a man who is really the focus of what's going on in so much of Washington. Very tough guy, very strong guy. I call him Wisconsin tough. And I don't even know if you know it, and I don't know if you appreciate it, but I'm telling you, he's really good. Ron Johnson, your senator. Thank you, Ron. A great job. He's doing a big job now, I can tell you that. He's working on some things that are very important. And members of Congress, Brian Stile. Brian, thank you, Brian. Thank you. Glenn Grothman. This guy, every time I introduce him, I love champions. I don't care if it's in sports. I just like champions. So he's your tree climbing champion. You know who I'm talking about? For 5 years, and that's not easy. He'd go up and come down. He said the hard part was coming down because you'd get killed if you missed. But for 5 years, he was the champion, the world champion, 5 years. And he's with us tonight, and I'll tell you, he's our champion. He fights so hard. He's working on a reciprocal trade bill. So if somebody charges us a tariff of 100% or 50% or 25%, we say, thank you very much. We're going to have a reciprocal tax of 25 or 50 or 100. What could be wrong with that? And he's leading the charge, and he's got tremendous enthusiasm, but he's a great guy, and he is a great champion. Sean, and his wife, by the way, is better than him. Sean Duffy. Right? And another great friend of mine, somebody that's been so effective, Mike Gallagher. Mike, thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Mike. And thanks also to Wisconsin House Majority Leader Jim Steinecke. Jim. Thanks, Jim. Great. Oh, Wisconsin. Senate President Roger Roth, Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald. Thank you. These are great people. They've done so much for us. And we have other leaders in the room, but we all know who they are. They've been incredible. The Republican Party's been incredible. After just the first 2 years' time, America is winning again, and America is respected again all over the world. No more games, all over the world. Since the election, we've created more than 6 million new jobs. Nobody would have believed that. If I said this when I came here often, I came here often. Remember I came and they didn't like certain people that were with me. They booed the hell out of those people, right? But they liked me. That's all that mattered. If I would have said 6 million jobs we're going to create by this time, 2.5 years. Can you believe how time flies? 2.5 years already. I said the other night, I remember first night standing in my bedroom. I should say our bedroom. With our great First Lady. I said, do you believe? First night, I said, here we are in the White House. And 4 years sounded so long away. And now 4 years is coming up. We're 2.5 years. And no administration has done as much as we have in the first 2.5 years. Ever. So, thank you. And by the way, yesterday was our First Lady's birthday. And people love her. We're about the same age, very close. But if I would have said that we would be, in 2.5 years, creating 6 million jobs, people would have laughed. 600,000 manufacturing jobs. Remember, President Obama said manufacturing jobs are gone. You need a wand, a magic wand. We found the magic wand because they're coming and they're coming fast. And those are great jobs. In the state of Wisconsin alone, we have created 23,000 brand new manufacturing and construction jobs, a record. And after years and years of declining wages, wages are rising for the first time in 21 years. And you know what's nice? Because I have a couple of friends here, they're pretty wealthy people, very successful people. And you know what? The hell with them. I don't care. I care about everybody. You know what I love? You know what I love? I love the fact that wages are rising fastest for the lowest income Americans, percentage-wise. I love it. You know, when they say it hasn't trickled down, the most successful, percentage-wise, the most successful are the lowest income Americans. There's something great about that. And people that are now able to go out, you know, we got Veterans Choice. We also have employment choice because you never had a chance. You had to stay in a job that you hated or you couldn't get a job. Now you can go out. You have 7 alternatives. You get a job that you love, and you get much higher salaries. It's great. It's great. And you've heard me say this 100 times, but I say it again, and I'll keep saying it. The unemployment rates for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and Asian Americans have all reached their lowest levels in the history of our country. And remember this, if I make any misstatement, if I'm off by just a little tiny bit, those people back there will be headlines. So I have to be very careful. Fake news, they're fake. They are fake. They are fakers. People. I'll tell you, you know what sucks? Their ratings suck because people don't believe them anymore. We have cut 30,000 pages of job-killing regulations from the Federal Register. That's an all-time record. It's never happened before. Right? Wrong. We passed the largest package of tax cuts and reforms in our nation's history. And you know something that is very important to me and very important to, because of you, to keep family farms, ranches, and small businesses together in the family. When you pass on and go to heaven so you can look down at these great children, and if you don't like your children, don't listen to what I'm going to say. There are probably a couple of you out there to say, you know, I don't like the kid. I'm not leaving him my damn farm, right? Probably. Anybody in here like that? Raise your hand. No, don't. But on the assumption that you love your kids and you love your family and you want to leave the farm, you remember what used to happen. The estate tax was 45, 50, 55%. They had to go out and borrow money. And then sometimes the land is worth more than the income, and they couldn't do it. And the banks end up, and the banks fight them, and that's not what they do for a living, the kids. And they lose the farm, they lose the ranch, they lose the small business, right? Well, we have eliminated the unfair estate tax or death tax on all of those things. Zero. Zero. That's a good one. After decades of calamitous trade deals that stripped away our wealth, literally stripped away this country's wealth and our jobs and so many other things, took away our dignity, when great companies would leave the United States for another country because of stupid taxes, because of stupid regulations, because, frankly, in some cases, and the unions are going to work on this, I tell them, you got to work on this, You got to have a little flexibility because there are other choices. But now the choices are going to be other states. They're going to be competition. But you know what? Now America fought back, and all of these companies are coming back into our nation again. They want to be where the action is. They want to be where the action is. They're all coming back, all of them. And the era of economic surrender is over. That's what we did. We were like, you remember? I used to do it when I was a civilian, when I had no idea I was going to be running for president. Right? I had no idea. I used to say, what the hell is going on? In Michigan, they gave me an award 7 years ago. I had no idea. It was the Man of the Year in Michigan. I went to Michigan. I said, do you people know what's happening? You're losing all your car companies. They're all leaving. They're going to Mexico, Canada. They're leaving. They're going to China. Do you know what the hell is? And this was before I was thinking about running for office. But I've been saying it for 20 years. And now we've stopped it. Those companies are all coming back. It's great. When the Wisconsin timber industry was threatened, my administration took immediate action. We imposed tariffs on dumped foreign goods and subsidized products and saved countless timber jobs all across this great state. And you know that. You know that, Sean. Big difference, right? They were losing, you were losing a lot of jobs. And they were taking the timber from other states and other countries. Nope, not anymore. We're doing good. Before I took office, one of the gravest threats to the future of American manufacturing was the previous administration's Trans-Pacific Partnership. You think NAFTA would have been bad? This would have made NAFTA look like a good deal. The TPP would have decimated U.S. manufacturing and gutted America's auto industry. It would have gutted the industry. And they were dying to do this crazy deal. I also ended up another one, you know, the great Paris Accord. How is Paris doing lately? How's Paris? How's Paris doing? Send all the money to countries that the people never heard of and raise their taxes. I ended that one, too. I thought I was going to take a lot of heat on that one. Saved a lot of money, saved a lot of jobs, saved a lot of businesses. I said, you know, when I end this Paris Accord, I'm going to take heat. I didn't even take heat. My people understood it. It was a ripoff. It didn't allow us to use our wealth. Would have stolen our jobs. But just take a look at what's happening to other places where they're trying to do it. And we had something we would have never, ever been able to adhere to the rules. They were so strict on us. You know, China can sign rules. They're not going to be sued by Greenpeace. If Greenpeace goes to China, that's the end of Greenpeace. You never see him again. So China doesn't care if they violate Greenpeace and some of these other wonderful environmental groups. But the United States gets sued. And we adhere to these things. It's a little bit different. We would have lost our ass on that deal. That would have been a terrible deal. And that's why I was willing to take the heat. But there was no heat. I'm still waiting. I guess at some point they'll bring it up. They'll probably bring it up. Bernie Sanders will say, what? I'll say, take a look at Paris on a Saturday afternoon, Bernie. How are they doing over there? Good? The Yellow Vests, how are they doing? I don't think so good. And they're great friends of mine, but I don't think they're doing so good. That's why in one of my first acts as president, I withdrew the United States from the one-sided job-killing disaster known as TPP. TPP, what a mess. That was another one of these deals that was set up for the strict purpose of taking wealth out of the United States for the benefit of those other countries that were in the deal. It was a one-sided horror show. America will not be taken advantage of any longer. For years, we gave foreign nations free and unfettered access to our economy. while they constructed massive barriers to American exports. We give them, you come in, take us, Joe, it's wonderful. We want to go there. No, we don't do that. We don't accept your product. Oh, that's wonderful. As one example, we charge other countries 0 tariffs on foreign paper products. But when Wisconsin paper companies exported abroad, they sent their product abroad. China charged us big tariffs. India charged us big tariffs. Vietnam charged us massive tariffs. Unfair. Reciprocal Trade Act, Sean. Reciprocal Trade Act. Look at Harley Davidson. Look at Harley Davidson. I met with them 3 years ago, one of my first meetings, Harley Davidson. I said to the people, they're very nice. They would tell me, tough to do business in certain countries. How are you doing in India? They said, oh, we don't do any business. They weren't even complaining because for so many years. So India charged 100% tariff on a Harley Davidson. But when they send their motorcycles and they make them to us, we charge them nothing. So I called up Prime Minister Modi. I said, unfair. He cut it 50%. But I said, that's not good enough because, look, it's 50% to nothing. And what we're doing is changing all of that stuff. Changing all of that stuff. Rapidly changing. Rapidly changing. And that goes for military protection also. That goes for military protection also, where we are getting ripped. We're defending the world. We're defending wealthy countries that can well afford to pay us. But they've been getting this free military, or at least massive partial subsidies, for so many years it's almost like habit. It's more habit than anything else. Nobody does anything about it, but we do. There's one country, we lose $5 billion a year. I won't say it. I don't want to embarrass anybody. The last thing I want to do is embarrass somebody. But they lose. We spend $5 billion a year defending them, right? So I said to the generals, how much do we spend? Next day, sir, we spend $5 billion. Very wealthy country. I said, how much do they pay? Sir, they pay $500 million. I said, you mean we lose $4.5 billion to defend them? And they're rich. So I called the country, right? I called the country. So we lose $4.5 billion for the privilege of defending a country that's very tough on us on trade and various other things, right? So I called, I said, listen, it's no good. Now, they were in a state of shock because they never got a call like this in 25 years, right? I said, it's no good. We're losing $4.5 billion. It's no good. We can't do this anymore. This is crazy. And he got very upset, angry. This is not fair. I said, of course it's fair. He said, well, we'll give you $500 million more because the budget, you see, had already been set and there's only a month left. So, you know, I said, you know what? I want more. We argued. So they paid us more than $500 million for one phone call. It took me one call. Now, I'm not bragging. I hate the deal. No, one phone call. Ron knows. One call. It's the first call they've had in 35 years. I don't think they ever had a call. One-sided, horrible deal. So I said, it's okay. You know, I understand you have budgets. You know, you go through a budget. But next year, which now turns out to be in about 2 weeks, I said, we're going to call you for much more. You got to pay. You got to pay. Not fair. We're defending you, and you're rich. You know, we can defend people. They're not rich, and they're being horribly treated, and human rights and all this. And that's different. These are rich countries. But think of it. One phone call, we pick up $500 million. That's not terrible. But now we're going to pick up a lot more. And we have that with many countries. Look, Saudi Arabia, very rich country. We defend them. We subsidize Saudi Arabia. They have nothing but cash. Right? We subsidize. And they buy a lot from us. $450 billion they bought. You know, you had people wanting to cut off Saudi Arabia. They bought $450 billion I don't want to lose them. But the military, we subsidize. Saudi Arabia. I called the king. I like the king. I said, King, we're losing our ass defending you, King, and you have a lot of money. That's true. And he said, but why would you be calling me? Nobody's ever made such a call before. I said, that's because they were stupid. So we're working a deal with Saudi Arabia. So many things. So many things. I'll tell you what, honestly, it's easier than collecting $113.57 from a tenant in a bad location in New York City. And it's safer, too, believe it or not. It's easier. It's true. It's easier. Okay, enough of that. But it's true. So we're getting ripped off on trade. We're getting ripped off on military. NATO, I'm all for NATO, but, we're paying for almost 100% of defending Europe. And they're killing us on trade. The European Union, the EU, is killing us. We lost $181 billion, and we're defending them for peanuts. Does this make sense to you, what I'm saying? And in the meantime, your taxes go up, although they actually, because of me, have gone down, so I guess I can. The International Trade Commission recently announced that under the USMCA, American dairy exports to Canada are expected to surge by more than 50%, okay? We got to get the deal done. Ron, you got to get that deal done. You'll get it done. Got to get it done. In my first 100 days in office, I traveled to this very state to sign an executive order declaring that we will live by two simple rules: buy American and hire American, right here in Wisconsin. But while we are unleashing America's economic renewal, the new agenda of the Democrat Party, it's not the Democratic Party, it sounds better. They ought to change their name, it's much better. But why should I make their name sound good, right? The Democrat Party, radical left, they should change that too. Call it officially the Radical Left Democrat Party. Would drive our nation into economic and financial ruin very quickly. And they will take your guns away too, by the way. Nothing is more dangerous than the Democrats' crazy immigration agenda. We want it solved. We're building the wall, by the way. We're going to have over 400 miles of wall built by the end of next year. We can get money for anything. They were willing to give me money for every single thing, more money than I wanted. I said, I don't need that much money. Give me money for the wall. We're not giving you anything for the wall. You know why? Because politically they don't like it. So I went out and did it a different way. And we have the money for the wall, and we're building the wall. Because their entire party has been taken over by far-left radicals who want to nullify and erase American borders. They want open borders. They want open borders. They want people to pour in, and they think that's going to be votes ultimately for them. These left-wing extremists don't believe America has the right to enforce our immigration laws or decide who gets to enter and remain in our country. Not going to be that way. And think of Border Patrol. We apprehend 100,000 people a month. Do you know what that is? Democrats want to allow totally unlimited, uncontrolled, and unchecked migration, all paid for by you, the American taxpayer. The Republican Party believes America has not only the right, but the absolute duty to control our borders and to enforce our laws. And we believe the immigration system must put the needs of American workers and families first. And people can come into our country. We need people to come in. We have so many companies coming. They need workers, but they have to come in legally, and they have to come in through merit. And we will always support the heroes of ICE and Border Patrol. These are great heroes. Last month alone, 100,000 illegal immigrants arrived at our borders, placing a massive strain on communities and schools and hospitals and public resources like nobody's ever seen before. Now, we're sending many of them to sanctuary cities. Thank you very much. They're not too happy about it. I'm proud to tell you that was actually my sick idea, but it's horrible. No. Hey, what did they say? We want them. I said, we'll give them to you, thank you. They said, we don't want them. Yet while wealthy liberals preach open borders, they live behind gates and guards, they send their families to the best doctors and private schools. And while pushing immigration policies that drain the public services, everyday citizens depend on you, and they depend on you. I depend on you, because we can change our immigration laws. I used to say in 45 minutes. It's really 15 minutes. It's so simple. But we need Democrats to vote on it. Otherwise, we can't change it. And they don't want, because, number one, they don't want to give us a victory. We're going to take it anyway. We're going to take the victory anyway. But they don't want to give us a victory on that issue. And number two, they don't mind open borders. And obviously, open borders bring tremendous crime. They don't mind crime, if you can believe it. The border crisis is also driving, and very strongly, the drug crisis. The biggest crisis we have, drugs. It's people, and it's drugs, and it's traffickers. Cartels traffic huge quantities of heroin, meth, cocaine, and fentanyl across our southern border. Drugs that claim the lives of 80, 90, and maybe even 100,000 people a year, and ruin the lives and the families of so many more. To confront the border crisis, I declared a national emergency. The good news is everybody agrees. Everybody agrees. Now everybody's agreed. They look at those caravans. We just had a caravan form, 20,000 people. And we told Mexico, I said, listen, if you let those people come through your country, we're going to close the damn border. We'll close it. I don't care. They got to bring them back. They got to bring them back. Humanely, they got to bring them back. The flood of illegal migration is the direct consequence of Democrat-backed policies that prevent border violators from being promptly returned home. They're allowed to stay in our country, catch and release. They're allowed, you catch them, and then you have to release them. It is crazy. Congress has to fix these horrible immigration laws. We have to end human smuggling, stop human trafficking, shut down sanctuary cities, deport criminal aliens, and replace visa lotteries and chain migration with immigration systems based on skill and talent and merit. Ron Johnson's going to do it. Ron, congratulations. Stand up, Ron. Will you get that done for me, please? No, get it done for Wisconsin. Okay? He'll do it. He'll do it. On issue after issue, the Democrat Party has never been further outside the American mainstream. I mean, it's crazy what's going on with them. Oh, do I look forward to running against them. They are pushing a $100 trillion government takeover of the U.S. economy known as the Green New Deal. We're going to rip down every single building in Manhattan and build a new building in its place. They've introduced a total federal takeover of U.S. health care that would abolish the private health insurance of 180 million Americans. Many of you are in this room right now. And they are aggressively pushing extreme late-term abortion, allowing children to be ripped from their mother's womb right up until the moment of birth. And just this week, your Democrat governor, and by the way, we have Scott Walker is here. Great governor. He did a great job. He's a great governor. He's got a big future. But your Democrat governor here in Wisconsin shockingly stated that he will veto legislation that protects Wisconsin babies born alive. Born alive. The baby is born. The mother meets with the doctor. They take care of the baby. They wrap the baby beautifully. And then the doctor and the mother determine whether or not they will execute the baby. I don't think so. Incredible. No, it's incredible. Until this crazy man in Virginia said it, nobody even thought of that, right? Did anyone even think of that? You hear late term, but this is where the baby is actually born. It came out, it's there, it's wrapped, and that's it. Who believes it? So to protect innocent life, I called on Congress to immediately pass legislation prohibiting the extreme late-term abortion of babies. So Democrats are now the party of high taxes, high crime, open borders, late-term abortion, hoaxes, and delusions. The Republican Party is the party for all Americans. That's what it is. It really is. And common sense. We're the party of common sense. We're the party of the American worker, the American family, the American dream. We're the party of the Second Amendment and its protection. And every day we are making good on the motto, promises made, promises kept. We have. Last month I signed an executive order. Where's Charlie? Where are you, Charlie? Charlie. Where's Charlie? Where is he? What a great... The man. He's like 14 years old. I can't believe it. How old, Charlie? 25. Can you believe this guy's unbelievable? What a job. In honor of him, he worked so hard. And for those of you who think that youth isn't on our side, just look at this audience tonight. Look at what Charlie has done. You'd be amazed. I was watching the other night the NFL draft. Can you believe it? And it was the second draft choice. And he gets out, Bosa. And he gets out he's going to be a great player from Ohio State. And he's a MAGA fan. He loves Trump. He loves MAGA. You got a lot of young people out there. You want to know the truth? I actually think we have more than they do. Who knows? But I think we have more than they do. And he's going to have a great career. Last month, I signed an executive order to defend free speech on college campuses. And if they don't give free speech, they lose billions and billions of dollars, and that's okay with me. And we've launched a historic initiative to reduce the price of prescription drugs. So important. Last year, prescription drug prices went down for the first time in 51 years, okay? Going up, up, up. And it's going to go down a lot more. Got it down. That was a big deal. Not by much, but, you know, it's always gone up a lot. 18%, 6%, 9%. It went down, and it's going to start going down because all of these very complex things that we're doing are starting to kick in. We're going to get them down. And maybe on that one, we're going to work with the Democrats, to be honest, because they want to get it down, too. And we'll see if we can put it all together. But prescription drugs, look, it's a rigged system, okay? If I told you how crazy it is, the web, it's a web. You need 193 IQ to even understand this web of geniuses. They put this thing to lower a drug price. It has 19 effects here and 27. We got it down, and we're getting it down further. We have the smartest people, the best people in that world working on it, and it's happening. And we might be able to get Democrat support. We're vastly expanding affordable alternatives to Obamacare. We repealed Obamacare's unfair and very unpopular individual mandate where you had to pay a fortune for the privilege of not having health insurance. That was very bad insurance. And we'll always protect patients with pre-existing conditions. The Republicans are always going to protect pre-existing conditions. We're unleashing American energy and getting Washington bureaucrats off the backs of hunters, fishers, farmers, and everyone who enjoys our great outdoors. And we've committed to providing, I think you'll like this, and Ron and those great congressmen that you have in this room are working hard on it. We're very close. $300 million for the Great Lakes Restoration Initiatives. And we're building the new SULOCs to protect jobs and commerce throughout the entire Midwest. The SULOCs. And I'm pleased to report that earlier this month, Interlake Steamship Company announced plans to build the first Great Lakes freighter in 35 years just north of here in Sturgeon Bay. How did you know? 35 years. And that just means more jobs, more jobs, more jobs. To keep America safe, we are rebuilding America's mighty might. We are rebuilding our military like never before in the history of our country. That includes brand new combat ships from Marinette and more than 6,000 brand new armored vehicles from Oshkosh. And we're boldly defending American interests. Just yesterday, I announced that my administration is unsigning the UN Arms Trade Treaty. We're unsigning it. We're pulling it back out of the United Nations. We're pulling it back out of Congress. All of you Second Amendment people, you know what it is. You'll be very happy with it. Because we will never allow foreign bureaucrats to trample on America's freedom. We're not going to allow it. That was a President Obama disaster. I also withdrew the United States from the absolutely horrible one-sided Iran nuclear deal. What an impact that's had. You know, when I first became president, the first week, I met with our great military people, and we went over problems. And one of the biggest problems was Iran. They were all over. Iran was all over the place. They were over. I've never seen anything like it. 14 different conflict zones. Yemen, Syria, all over. And small battles. I said, what do you do with these people? I withdrew from that horrible deal where they paid $150 billion to Iran. They paid $1.8 billion in cash, probably for hostage. By the way, I got 22 hostages out. And the other day, our great hostage negotiator made the statement that Trump is the greatest hostage negotiator this country's ever had. So, you know what? So I put it out. Why not? You know, a lot of times if you're not going to brag about it, nobody else is. You might as well do it. Good. So, our ambassador made the statement. And the press picked it up, and they were going after me. It's not true. It's not true. And then he called them, and he said, no, it is true. And instead of saying it's true, they stopped talking about it. Fake news. I recognized Israel's capital and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. And it would have opened in 25 years. But I said to our great ambassador, David Friedman, one of the most successful lawyers in New York, he became ambassador to Israel. I said, David, they want to spend $1.1 billion. We can do it cheaper. They want to buy this piece of land in Jerusalem, top dollar. I said, David, what can we do? And he called me back. He said, sir, we have a piece of land that's much better. And on that piece of land, we have an old building. And we're not using the building very much. And we can renovate the building for $400,000. And we'll have a beautiful embassy in a better location. And we can have it done. And, sir, we can have it done in 4 months instead of 25 years. So here's your alternative. A building in a great location in 4 months for $400,000. Or a building that will probably never get built, but let's say 20 years, for $1.1 billion today, meaning $3-4 billion, in a lousy location that won't be as good as what we built. And it's the first time I've ever done this. He said $400,000. I said, David, it's too cheap. We have to make it more. It's true. I said, make it $500,000. It's true. It's true. And it's open. We opened it like almost a year ago. And you know, in New York, I have a friend. He's a very successful guy, and he's very proud of his office because he used a thing called Jerusalem stone. This is stone from Jerusalem. It's one of the most expensive. He considers it a treasure. And every time I go in, he says, oh, look at my beautiful stone. It's from Jerusalem. So we're building a building in Jerusalem. I said, David, do me a favor. Buy Jerusalem stone. You're right there. We got it so cheap, you wouldn't believe it. And the whole damn building is made practically of Jerusalem stone. It's true. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So we got it open in 4 months instead of 20 or 25 years. And we saved at least $1.1 billion. And it's a great embassy right now. It's a great, great thing. It's great. And just weeks ago, I announced that the United States will recognize Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. So that's been under consideration for 52 years. For 52 years, they told me they've been studying it. They've had summits, many, many meetings, summits, people coming from all over the world, talking about the Golan Heights. And then they'd leave. This is very important strategically for victory. Heights, you're up high, very important. 52 years ago it started. And I did it, like quickly, done. It's all done. And we also recognize the legitimate government of Venezuela, and we strongly condemn the socialist brutality of the Maduro regime. And you see what socialism does. That was one of the wealthiest countries in the world. Now it's one of the poorest. And to those who would try to impose socialism in our country, we see nothing but trouble. We see nothing but poverty. And we will say again tonight that America will never be a socialist country, ever. Never. Never. Great. Boy, this crowd has a lot of enthusiasm. A hell of a crowd. Saturday night, we're having a good time. And you know why we're having a good time? Because we are talking about a subject that we love, the United States of America. It's very simple. Right? Each of us in this arena is united by the same timeless values. We believe in the American Constitution, and we believe in the rule of law. We believe in the dignity of work and the sanctity of life. We believe that faith and family, not government and bureaucracy, are the true American way. We believe in religious liberty, the right to free speech, and the right to keep and bear arms. We believe that children should be taught to love our country, to honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. And we believe in the words of our national motto, "In God we trust." These are the traditions, customs, and principles that unite people all across this beautiful state of Wisconsin. These are the values that bind us together as citizens, as patriots, and as Americans. You joined our movement, the greatest movement in the history of our country, because you rejected the failures and the betrayals of the past. You were betrayed. You were betrayed by dishonest people. You were betrayed by stupid people. You stared down a corrupt system that enriched itself at your expense. You protected your family. You defended your dignity. You recaptured your destiny. And you took back your country with that great election 2.5 years ago. Good. You have always been loyal to this nation. Now you finally have a president who is loyal to you. Every day between now and November 2020, we are going to keep on working, we are going to keep on fighting, and we are going to keep on winning, winning, winning. We are going to win. Remember, I used to tell you about winning. We're winning. We are respected again. And I have to say, every leader, without fail, that comes to see me in the Oval Office, they all say, congratulations, it's incredible what's happened to the United States. And I'm not just talking about economically, which is tremendous. We've created $12 trillion of value since the election. $12 trillion. And our primary competitor, very big, powerful competitor, has lost $17 trillion since our election. They were catching us. If somebody else were in this position, they would have caught us already. They're not catching us now. We're way out in front. With every last ounce of heart and hope and sweat and soul, we are going to make our stand. We are going to stand for liberty. We are going to stand for justice. We are going to stand for freedom. And we are going to stand for the sacred rights given to us by the hand of Almighty God. We are one united movement, one united people, and one United States of America. And together with the great and proud people of Wisconsin, we will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Wisconsin. Thank you.
A glance